Hello, welcome back. So for the last part, I'll show you another example of a vocabulary that's used widely in practice and that you have used, well, maybe not used directly, but you have seen it every time you're browsing the web or using a search engine. So the vocabulary is schema.org. And here in the example, we're going to look for movie reviews using Google. And yeah, the movie here we're looking for is The Artist. And when you search for it, you find all kinds of information. Yeah, you find the links to a movie review, to IMDb, to when the movie is currently playing something in your area where you can buy a ticket. And here we are interested in the reviews. So for example, you can see that in the snippet you get back, you don't just get the link to the web page, but also information like what was the star rating of the review. Now you might wonder where this is coming from. Is Google doing some fancy natural language processing to analyze the text and then give it a star rating? Well, that's not really what happens. So here's the corresponding page about the movie, The Artist, and there's a review. And the author of this review gave it 5 stars. Great movie. Okay, so now you might think, okay, maybe it's Google is analyzing the page, somehow recognizes that there are these symbols here and that they must be the star rating. That is theoretically possible, but you can think of many ways this can go wrong. Now, there's all kinds of other stuff. Maybe there are multiple reviews on the same page. There's some ads that also have stars in them. So it could work, but no, this is not what's happening. So let's look at the actual HTML behind this page and what we find there. So there's, of course, lots of stuff we're not interested in. But if we come to the actual entity, we have a movie. And then for the movie, we have a rating value. So if you look in this HTML here, what you see is a reference to a vocabulary, which is called schema.org. So this is a vocabulary just like FOAF or Dublin Core or SKOS. So if we strip away all the other stuff and extract only what we're interested in, you can see that what we have in this page are embedded triples. And this is using a format that I briefly mentioned before called RDFA. So RDFA is a standard for embedding RDF triples into HTML pages. And the triples here are the triples about a review. So you can see the subject of the review and the description and the rating value. So if you process this, what you get is triples that look like this. So you have the type of the page is a review, the name of the review, the name of the entity being reviewed is The Artist. We have the description that comes from the text, and you have an explicit rating value of 5. So this is what's happening behind the scenes. Pretty much all web pages generated by content management systems have RDF data embedded in them. Schema.org is a very special vocabulary because the main consumer of schema.org is search engines. So of course Google, but also all the other big search engines. So essentially, if you are a webmaster and want to publish content, then you want to describe your content using a vocabulary. And one of them for use by search engine is this schema.org. So schema.org is not that useful if you want to have another application processing the page. It's a very specific vocabulary meant for consuming, for being consumed by a search engine. But of course, you're not limited to describing it only with schema.org. You can also add other vocabularies. The same thing is happening if you have something like an e-commerce website. If you noticed in Google, you search for a product and suddenly Google gives you information like the price in a concrete store. And again, this is not happening because it's doing some kind of processing on the page and extracting the price for a product from a store web page. It's because there is another vocabulary that I mentioned, the good relations vocabulary. And you can describe your products, the price, and so on using this vocabulary, and then Google will also extract it and display it. So this just as a brief example for how RDF is appearing in the world and for RDFA, which is used to embed RDF data into web pages. Now it's your turn again. What should you read? So for RDFS in particular, there are a couple of things that you should look at. First, I would recommend you look at this RDF primer because it's a very nice, short, well-written overview on RDF and RDFS. So that's this World Wide Web primer here. So some of the examples that you've seen on the slides are also taken from this primer. So independent of the other resources, this is something you should read, but it's very brief. So most likely you want some more details. So for the additional details, you can use the same book I recommended last time. So this one here, you can download through the library as a PDF. In the same book, you also find some information on FOAF. But another book you could look at is the one that I have here, Linked Data, Structured Data on the Web, which is, I think, a bit better written than this book here. But you can't download the PDF. You have to go through the Safari online to read it. But it has nice chapters on RDF, including RDFS, and also more details on FOAF. So they give you the same information. You can look at these different books and see which one you like better. And yeah, make sure you read up on RDF, RDFS, and have a look on some of the vocabularies, especially FOAF as the first one, but also browse around a bit on the other vocabularies. So that's it for this week. Again, we'll have lab exercises and I'll see you again next week. Goodbye.